Welcome to the Upper Four Assembly. Today is Windrush Day and we decided to dedicate our assembly to this event. 72 years ago, on the 21st of June 1948, the former German cruise liner HMT Empire Windrush arrived in the UK at Tilbury Docks, Essex, carrying passengers from the West Indies. The following day, in what has become a landmark in the history of modern Britain, Caribbean migrants from countries including Jamaica, Bermuda, Trinidad and British Guinea exited the Windrush and were among the first to be recruited to rebuild post-war Britain. Mainly former service personnel, this was the first wave of post-war immigration.
In 1948, Britain was just starting to recover from the devastation of the Second World War, but faced desperate labour and housing shortages. Enticed by the prospect of long-term job opportunities and prosperity, Caribbean men and women crossed the Atlantic in response to adverts for work in an attempt to tackle Britain's labour shortage crisis.
Arrivals at Tilbury. The Empire Windrush brings to Britain 500 Jamaicans. Many are ex-servicemen who know England. They served this country well. In Jamaica, they couldn't find work. Discouraged but full of hope, they sailed for Britain, citizens of the British Empire coming to the mother country with good intent. Prodded by public opinion, the Colonial Office gives them a more cordial reception than was at first envisaged. Many are to be found jobs. Our reporter asks them what they want to do.
Now, why have you come to England? To seek a job. And what sort of job do you want? Any type, so long as I get a good pay.
Some will go into industry, others intend to rejoin the services.
Now, you're ex-Air Force, aren't you?
Yes.
Are you going back into the Air Force again?
Yes,
Did you know if you'll be accepted?
I think so.
Some plan to return to Jamaica when conditions improve.
I'd like to ask you, please, are you a single man?
I am a single man. Only my mother that is depending on me. And I'm also an ex-serviceman.
You're ex-service, RAF, are you?
RAF. I took a course in Scotland in case making. And I'm desirous of going back there to see if I can further because I like it very much. And I'm trying to help myself and also help my mom.
Their spokesman sings his thanks to Britain.
Now, may I ask you your name?
Lord Kitchener.
Lord Kitchener. Now, I'm told that you are really the king of calypso singers, is that right?
Yes, that's
Well, now, will you
true.
sing for us?
Right now.
Yes.
London is the place for me. London, this lovely city. You can go to France or America, India, Asia or Australia, but you must come back to London City. Well, believe me, I am speaking broad-mindedly. I am glad to know my mother country. I've been traveling the countries years ago, but this is the place I wanted to know, darling, London. This is the place for me.
While the Windrush generation and the descendants are today honoured for their immense contributions to the British society following the trauma of the Second World War, the first Afro-Caribbean immigrants were met with extreme intolerance from large parts of the white population, having initially been encouraged to settle in the UK and take up employment to relieve labour markets by the authorities. Many early immigrants were denied access to private employment and accommodation on account of their skin colour. Black people were also banished from many pubs, clubs and even churches. From today's perspective, the arrival of the HMT Empire Windrush is considered a major landmark not only for the country's recovery from the turmoil of the war, but also the establishment of the modern British multicultural society.
Windrush Day was introduced in 2018 on the 70th anniversary of the landing of the first Caribbean migrants, for the purpose of encouraging communities across the country to celebrate the contribution of the Windrush generation and their descendants, according to the UK government. Backed by government funding, the day features a large variety of activities, including dance performances, exhibitions and debates.
The Windrush generation helped shape Britain as it is today, from building the NHS to the music we listen to. Right now, the Black Lives Matter demonstrations are reminding us to re-examine how some people have treated and continue to treat people from the Black community and other ethnic minorities. We all need to learn more about the experience of Black people in the UK so that we can build stronger communities where no one is excluded.
It's Windrush Day, and with protests currently taking place across the world, addressing both long-standing inequalities faced by Black people and the need to approach our histories in a more genuinely reflective way, it is more vital than ever that we remember the Windrush generation. their tremendous contribution to British life, and the recent scandal that devastated so many of their lives.
It is a shameful fact that racism is still prevalent in our society and around the globe. While the world may have changed a lot since the days of slavery and segregation, there is still much to be done, by all of us, to level the playing field and help black people and others of colour reach a position where they can live their lives without being subjected to racism, either overt or subtle, personal or systemic.
Hey, line up! Line up! Everybody line up! We're about to race! Everybody line up! Shoulder to shoulder, take off your backpacks. Basketball, line up, we're about to race. Hey, we are racing for a $100 bill. The winner of this race will take this. It's a $100 bill. Before I say go, I'm going to make a couple statements. If those statements apply to you, I want you to take 2 steps forward. If those statements don't apply to you, I want you to stay right where you're at. Take 2 steps forward if both of your parents are still married. Take 2 steps forward if you grew up with a father figure in the home. Take 2 steps forward if you had access to a private education. Take 2 steps forward if you had access to a free tutor growing up. Take 2 steps forward if you've never had to worry about your cell phone being shut off. Take 2 steps forward if you've never had to help mom or dad with the bills. Take 2 steps forward if it wasn't because of your athletic ability, you don't have to pay for college. Take 2 steps forward if you never wondered where your next meal was going to come from. I want you guys up here in the front just to turn around and look. Every statement I've made has nothing to do with anything any of you have done. Has nothing to do with decisions you've made. Everything I have said has nothing to do with what you've done. We all know these people up here have a better opportunity to win this $100. Does that mean these people back here can't race? No. We would be foolish to not realize we've been given more opportunity. We don't want to recognize that we've been given a head start. But the reality is we have. Now, there's no excuse. They still got to run their race. You still got to run your race. But whoever wins this $100, I think it'd be extremely foolish of you not to utilize that and learn more about somebody else's story. Because the reality is, if this was a fair race and everybody was back on that line, I guarantee you some of these black dudes would smoke all of you. And it's only because you have this big of a head start that you're possibly going to win this race called life. That is a picture of life, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing you've done has put you in the lead that you're in right now. When I say go, on your mark, get set, go! If you didn't learn anything from this activity, you're a fool.
Good morning everyone, I hope you're all safe and well. I'm here today just to talk to you a little bit about what we've been talking about at Student Council in the last 2 weeks regarding the inclusion of more Black history within our curriculum. So it was evident to most of us from the beginning that students and staff unanimously agree that what has been labelled as the Black curriculum should be more prevalent within our own teaching and learning. And we asked our representatives to feed back to you that an issue we do face at GCSE and A-level is that we don't have complete control over what is taught. For example, where the government recently reformed the GCSE and A-levels without really consulting teachers, there were no longer any black authors listed on the English specification. However, we didn't want this to seem as though there was nothing we could do. We asked our representatives to feed back to you that our head expects us to challenge and use our own voices and the power that that has to make change. And Miss Dyer advised us that you can write a letter to the Education Secretary, Gavin Williamson, and there are template letters that you can adapt if you Google the Black curriculum. Primary 6 students have also said they are very happy to represent you if you feel that you are unable to do it yourself. And lastly, we asked for some concrete suggestions, things that we can take forward. Which authors, which musicians, which prominent figures in art, technology and science would you like to see on the curriculum, and what events and what aspects of Black history? This leads us to our second meeting, where Ms Raffray let us know she's a committee member of 2 national heads organisations who are lobbying the government in order to have teachers listened to. As a school, we would love to be able to lobby the government regarding the curriculum, and the more support we have for this, the better. As the larger mandate we have, the more impact that we can achieve. We are not simply looking to bolt things onto the curriculum, it is about a deeper and more profound examination of the curriculum. And the governors are as committed to this as we are. One governor in particular has done lots of work on unconscious bias. Plus overall there is an enterprise we are looking at which may be along the lines of our Truth Commission, which links to our motto of Veritas. So after this we moved along to some of the suggestions and contributions from your classes and other members of staff. So Miss Raffray recommended Alice Walker's In Search of Our Mother's Garden, a series of essays where she opens up about the discussion of what happens to Black women's voices. Another suggestion came from Miss George, and she recommended a TED talk by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, The Dangers of a Single Story, where it considers the danger of a single version events, and she highly recommends this. We also discussed from different year groups the ideas of using PSHE as a valuable time to discuss Black events and Black history and just really richen our understanding of other cultures, with lots of you suggesting different international days and different music theme projects and historical theme projects that we are really looking forward to trying to adapt into the curriculum. So we also had Tara and Amelia join us, who were past pupils who started the petition that many of you signed, and they came along to talk about what their aims were of the petition and what they were hoping would come out of this. And just in general to understand the importance of integration of Black history and culture. As well as it being a part of the curriculum, it has to be integrated and not seen as other or different, but equal as it should be. And in general, it was just a really positive meeting where we talked about the recognition of historical events that we'd like to see, and the idea of bringing this not only at GCSE or in the senior school, but bringing it right down into the juniors, so that all the way up the school there is a larger inclusion of Black history.
Good morning, girls. I thought this morning and in the next few assemblies I might just give you a few insights into some of the work that continues while we are in school, and many of you unfortunately are still at home. So this is the professional building of a proper long jump for you. And what's really interesting is just how technical and how complex the construction of this is. Here's one of our outdoor classrooms. As you know, we've been adapting to the times. It's been really lovely seeing different year groups begin to come back into school. We're really excited about seeing the lower 5 tomorrow. And we will be inviting all year groups in before the end of the term, girls. We can't wait to see you and talk to you about everything that has been happening. So much has happened, hasn't it? And some work is being done on the beloved balcony for the Primary 6 Common Room. That view is one of the things girls absolutely love most about summer months, and in fact all year round, so we're mending that to make it safe for you. So this morning the upper 4 have produced a fantastic assembly honouring Windrush Day. And before I leave you with that wonderful assembly, here's Saint Teresa of Lisieux. in the greenery, just there. She was beloved of the nuns who founded our school. So Teresa talked about small things. All of us, all the time, and everything we do, have an impact on other people. So let's make our prayer. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Saint Augustine, pray for us.